my loves, it's Danielle Mercurio, and welcome to this episode of some groovy things I'm about to share with you. I was going to say never, but never say never. This topic was something that I never thought I'd be fully diving into an episode around, let alone something that is rocking my world in the way that it is literally the answer to my prayers right now. Who would have thought? I'm talking about AI, artificial intelligence. Wait, what? What? Danielle? Spiritual teacher? Artificial intelligence? Best friends? What is going on? I know what is going on, but at the same time, it's kind of like the best thing ever and the best thing for us in the spiritual community. And I'm going to share why. And again, before you get oh, I don't know about this, Danielle, I was you. I totally get it. So just take a moment, hear what I have to say, and then let's go from there.
Danielle Mercurio. It's time for the show with Danielle. Welcome to the show. Danielle Mercurio. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Okay, as you can tell, the theme, the topic, the wherewithal of this episode is around the idea of illuminating AI. When I say AI, we say artificial intelligence, right? And the idea of AI, the idea of robots taking over, the idea of our jobs being replaced by machines is a very scary concept. It feels like it is taking away our free will, our destiny, our experience here on Earth. And while I don't know what the future holds in its entirety when it comes to how this is going to be integrated, what I can say from my understanding is that the ways that it is being utilized and the ways that are currently available to us are going to allow you, especially my entrepreneurs, to function in a way that is more manageable, profitable, and enjoyable. So I'm going to use this episode to kind of share how AI can best be utilized, what it means from my perspective, and where we can go from here. And most of all, how you can make the most of it. Because here's the thing. We can sit back and say, I'm not engaging in it. But then at the same time, then we would say, I'm not engaging in Google. I'm not engaging in GPS. I'm not engaging in using an ATM. I'm not engaging in Netflix. I'm not engaging in Instagram, right? All of a sudden, if we were to remove this notion of AI, then we would be removing tools that are already pretty integrated, right? It's kind of like the days of when the internet first came out. There were people that were just totally gung-ho and here for it, and other people were I'm good with the phone book and my encyclopedias. Well, some people might still use the phone book, and I'm sure some people still use encyclopedias. If anything, it's fun to be archaic and look through a old school world book, right? At the same time, though, it is what it is. And Google has made it so easy for us to use it for research purposes that we aren't going to the encyclopedia. And the ways that, information is out there, we don't need to look it up in a directory, right? And so when I look at AI, I look to it more as another way that technology is advancing. And when I really think about it in my core, and again, I'm going to share my story and my resistance, but when I think about it in my core here and now, I can see how it relates to the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius sprouted around 2012, and since that time, the world has been moving faster. There have been more moments of innovation. technological advances. And even in spirituality, we're seeing it, right? In our spiritual practices, there are more tools, more modalities, more resources, more ability to be connected with people and healers and teachers. One of the things that I used to say a lot when I taught more regularly in person, I always have referenced the Aquarian age. I've always geeked out about it. And I've always referenced it as the age of technology. And so it's fascinating to me that when I started to notice more of the hype around AI, I rebelled a little bit. Because I'm like, whoa, wait. I don't want to engage in this. I don't want to participate in something that could take away from the human experience, could take away from somebody's well-being. And unfortunately, the world that we live in, that's going to happen no matter what. Whether it's AI or something else, we live in a society that is always moving forward for better or worse, is always looking to upgrade, not always thinking about who that downgrades in the process. And we're not going to fully get into that today. However, the intent, or what I want to focus on, is that, once again, this isn't going anywhere. And if anything, it's going to be moving faster and faster and faster. And one of the sayings that's going around in the AI world is AI won't replace you, but someone that understands AI will. It's not going to take away your job, but if you don't know how to do it, then it could limit what you're capable of doing at your job. So, and we'll get more into how that can, how you can utilize that no matter what job you're in. If anything, it's going to maximize your ability to be able to show up and also give you more freedom and time in the process. So, as I mentioned, I was kind of like, I don't know about this AI thing. But then at the same time, and a client of mine a few months back had even asked me, like, what do you feel about AI right now? Like, are you worried? And my thought in that moment, especially because I was with a client and I was very much in an intuitive space. So my own egoic thoughts couldn't come through. And in my intuitive space, I said to her, look, we've made it this far. Why not trust the process? Why not see where it takes us? Why not believe in the fact that we decided to come here during these times? And the intent of coming here was to do something with whatever's going on in these times, with the notion that we're supposed to be living and surviving and being taken care of during that process. And that's always just kind of sat with me in the back of my mind whenever I had some of my own doubts, per se. And to be completely honest, and I feel like I've mentioned this for a while, I've been feeling a little bit off in what it is that I'm delivering, what it is that I'm executing. I know at my core, I'm meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm a really great coach. I'm really good when it comes to spiritual modalities, astrology, meditation, like leading retreats. Like, it's all there. However, it's just felt so loose, so unapproachable to me. And especially with the shift from being so in person to then moving into such a virtual space with the pandemic, I got so burnt out, and I feel like I got stretched out of what I was doing and into something else, but into something else in a way that I was capable of, but it felt a little bit overwhelming and it wasn't quite the thing per se. And I looked into, hiring help, outsourcing, talking to different people, but I just always felt kind of left in the same place after. Like, I'm going through the motions. This doesn't feel right. I'm not really making impact per se. And, this is it really started to heighten this year, 2023. Like, I just was feeling it more and more. And then it was starting to affect like my income and my earnings. And I was feeling like it was just like all going away. And I didn't know what to do. And I was starting to get worried about my finances and how am I moving forward? I literally was like looking at full-time jobs again, because I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I know I have to take care of myself and I have to pay bills. And if I need to get a full-time job to figure this out, then that's what I'll do. Like, I literally was in that place earlier this year. But as the universe always does, it provides, and I've been continuing to like make strides forward and work with good people and, move things forward. But in the back of my mind, it just like constantly, where is this going? What am I doing? And then we see like what's going on in our collective, and it all fell off. So fast forward or rewind, however you want to say it, to April of this year when a former client of mine reached out to me about a webinar she was putting on for her clients. And she is a 7-figure coach. She works with really, top thought leaders in the industry, super elite, really beautiful. And she's like, it's about AI. And I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, I trust her and I believe in what she's doing, so I should partake in this opportunity. So it was a webinar to just showcase, opportunities in the AI field, how it can best be used if you are an entrepreneur. And the guy that ran it, his name's Shoebox Moses. I'm not going to tell his story, but it's a good one. I mean, with a name like Shoebox Moses, you know it's going to be a good story. So he was originally a DJ, and through his work as a DJ, he started incorporating different AI tools. Understanding the brilliance of these AI tools, he started sharing them with other people, which then eventually leveraged into speaking opportunities and the ability to share this technology with other entrepreneurs. And so he was the one hosting the workshop. And he starts showing us some of these AI tools. And as he's showing them to us, it literally, like I almost like within 2 minutes, like started crying because I was like, oh my God. Like I was like geeking out. You know that feeling where you're just like so excited and your body is surging and like there's like a juicy feeling like in your loins and you're just like, oh my gosh, like what is this? Like I want more of it. Like this is everything to me and I don't even know what it is, but I know it's amazing and I'm just like in love. That's totally how I felt. I'm watching him demonstrate these tools and I was just like, I get it. I get you. I speak this language. This isn't foreign to me. This isn't out there. This is helpful. This is aligned. This is for someone that has ADD, that is neurodivergent, who is all over the place, that doesn't do a good job with task management, that is always moving from one thing to the next. This is my virtual assistant. This is my podcast producer. This is my transcriber. This is my video editor. This is my brainstorming ally. This is my business coach. This is everything. And I couldn't believe that I had been sitting on this for as long as I did. My best friend, she's Aquarian, and she had told me about it back in January. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't need to. I was like, that sounds cool. But, we don't really see things or engage in things until we're fully ready, right? So I definitely had those hesitations. I definitely was nervous. What about authenticity? What about me feeding the problem? What about my data being compromised? But what I realized was I had an opportunity with this. There's 2 ways that you can approach, there's 3 ways you can approach AI. The first way is to not do anything and just ignore it. The second way is to do it on a very surface level way where you don't use your intuition and you just let it do everything for you. Or the third way is the way that I prefer and the way that I feel called to teach it and the way that I feel called to integrate it and the way that Spirit is pushing it forward on my behalf is how do we create a unique, authentic dynamic with it? How do we program these tools intuitively so that they become an extension of us? Because when that happens, everything is possible. I recognize, and the tool that I use the most is ChatGPT. If you're not a fan of ChatGPT, you can also explore Claude or Bard. Okay, those are the other 2 I would explore. And basically what it is it's a trained device that's a chat box. It's basically a pre-trained chat box. Now, in the case of ChatGPT, it's been trained up until 2021. There are web browser plugins that you can add in to get more accurate, more real-time data and resources, but in its essence, we've got till 2021, especially if you're using the free version. So what I realized with these tools, especially the chat engineered ones, is that when you use it intuitively, when you prompt it accordingly, you start to teach it your language. You start to teach it your tone. You start to teach it your voice. And from that space, you now have someone that understands your business, understands your personality, understands your goals, understands your revenue ideas or your revenue projections. And again, you say, oh my God, that's so scary. But you know what? What's the alternative? And in a lot of these apps, you can turn off sharing your data. And you know what? Maybe your data is getting shared, but like our data is getting shared all the time. And I guess I'm just in a place where I'm not as worried about that. I'm more worried about not being able to do what it is that I want to do in the world. I'm more worried about not being able to execute my dreams. I'm more worried about not having the bandwidth to get myself out there. I'm more worried about having to interview so many people to try to do the thing that this thing can do. Because I've been the assistant, I've been the copywriter, I've been, the person behind the scenes to so many other people that I intuitively understood how to train this device. So, for me, what I realized was if you come at this in a heart-centered way, you can allow these tools to really listen to you. And as they listen to you, they then can create an algorithm that is uniquely yours. And they can remember what it is that you're here for, what your goals are, what it is that you desire, and they will keep you on that path. It builds in accountability, credibility, and excitement. It's fun. It's fun to be able to go to this device knowing that it's available 24/7, and we can work through something on the spot when I feel ready, when I feel motivated. I don't have to wait to book a time with somebody else, and I don't have to wait for someone to email me back. It's all in real time, and it's all on my time. And so in utilizing these tools in this way, it made me really see and really understand the potential. Further, what I really, really appreciate about this, now outside of like a ChatGPT, there are tools that you can use for your podcast. For example, Decipher will transcribe your podcast. Not only will it transcribe it, it will organize it into show notes, pull quotes. It will break down how many different people are on the podcast, you, Joe Schmo, etc. It will be able to completely create those highlights for you in a way that maybe you hadn't before. You can literally sit down with your meditations, have them transcribed based on that. You can create a story of your meditations. You can say, okay, you just transcribed my meditation, Decipher, thank you. Now you go over to ChatGPT and say, here's a meditation I just created. Here's the script. Based on this, let's create an email that I can send to my list sharing to them about this incredible meditation that I recorded. And here's how they can learn more about it. And here's how they can buy it. And it takes some of that edge away of having to do it yourself or having to explain it to someone else. What's really cool about any AI tool is you can overshare. It doesn't care. You can literally tell it everything you want. The more specific you are, the more it's able to help you. It wants to listen to you. Okay? You can create artwork and graphics for your website. Again, this is not taking away from artists. This is not taking away from photographers, because photographers can leverage these tools accordingly for themselves, and so can artists as well. And at the end of the day, I still fully believe, I want original artwork. I don't want AI created artwork in my house. I want a canvas that someone painted, right? We still are going to want human connection. That's not going anywhere. If you're a copywriter, your job's not going away. If anything, you're going to now be able to go to people and say, hey, I'm going to work with you and I'm going to utilize, I have a whole library of tools that I utilize in working with you. What I'm going to need from you is anything you've written. I want former newsletters. I want blog posts. I want your website. I want to look at your social media content. I'm going to pull all of that. I'm going to pull in my copywriting expertise, and then I'm going to feed it into this chatbot. And from that space, we are going to create a whole library of content for you. More blogs, more emails, right? It's going to be able to multiply your bandwidth and what you're able to do. When I was on that webinar, again, there were a lot of individuals that are top players in the field, and they have teams. A lot of the individuals on there were like, I love this so much. I don't have the bandwidth to even play with AI, but I want my assistant trained in it. I want my team trained in it. I want my podcast editor on these tools, because they know if their team is using these tools, it's going to maximize what they're able to put out in the world. Okay. So again, it's not taking away jobs. It's maximizing what we're capable of outputting. Okay. It can help you write a sales page. It can help you with your courses. It can help you with creating reels. Okay, there's a lot of things that it can do. And I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of what it can do. This is more about me sharing with you so you can start to get excited with me. So you can start to see the possibilities. So you can start to realize that this isn't such a scary thing. And if anything, it's way better than the systems that are out there, especially for those of us that are coaches in the industry, because here's the thing. The coaching industry is failing from the space of, it's not a regulated job, okay? Coach, spiritual teacher, like all of that. Like anyone can be a life coach. Anyone can be a healer, right? Technically. And you have to do your due diligence to find the right person and work with the right people and like make sure that they're credible and whatnot, but technically anyone can do it. Same with business coaching. Anyone can just say, oh, I'm going to be your business coach. But like a lot of times we're investing in these business coaches, and part of, I think I really loved business consulting and business coaching. It was so much fun for me, but unfortunately, because I hold so much integrity in what I do and I never want to take advantage of people, I stopped. So for anyone of you that have been following me for a while, you may have noticed like I did kind of pull back, especially during the pandemic, from business coaching, because I felt like it was a disservice in a lot of ways unless you had a lot of resources. Because what would happen was I'd be working with people and we would come up with the best strategy and the best game plan, and we would niche things down and get things organized, and we would just get so excited about the possibility of how to move their business forward. But then that person is left with, okay, now I got to write this many blogs, this many podcasts. I got to get this many emails out. I got to build a website. I've got to do Instagram. I've got to make my LinkedIn profile. I need to start, getting workshops out there and write copy for workshops. And if you don't have any more in your budget to hire people to help you with that, it's a lot to do on your own, especially if you're also running working a full-time job, or you're, a mom to a few kids. It's a lot to build a business with limited resources. And so it was hard for me sometimes because I was like, I can teach the foundations. I know what it takes to create a really thriving business. But unless you are willing to literally work nonstop, it's going to be a lot. And so now why I'm so excited about business coaching again, is because now it's like, okay, here's our strategy. Let's pair it with this AI tool. Boom. Right there, that becomes a doable next step. And you're not going to get burnt out building your business before you even get to your clients. And I think where the business coaching industry does a huge disservice is that it takes advantage of selling people ideas and not properly looking at, is this actually doable for someone to execute? AI now becomes that execution. AI now becomes the possibility for you to leverage these tools in such a way that you are now in the same space as the bigger players. You are now able to do the things that people that are making 6-7 figures are able to do. And I think there's going to be less of a need for these salesy, sleazy business coaches. because it's going to be irrelevant. Because literally you can go to ChatGPT today and you can put into it, you can say, hi, ChatGPT, I am a spiritual life coach. I work with moms who are just opening up into their intuition. They are in this age range. They are in this demographic. These are their thoughts. These are their feelings. And this is my secret sauce. This is how I can help them. This is the tools that I provide. This is my method. This is my, these are my abilities. Based on all of this, and please, ChatGPT, I like to name mine. Mine is named Aiden. So I'll say, please, Aiden, let me know what else you're going to need for us to move this business forward. And then from there, Aiden, or whatever you call your system, will say, great, I see that you are an intuitive coach for moms that are waking up into their own spiritual journey. Based on that, I have a few more questions. How much money do you want to make? Is this virtual? Is it going to be in person? And you'll fill out a form. Then based on that, it'll say, great, here's what I think the next steps for us should be. Let's work on your website. And here are the pieces of your website that you need to complete. And then once you do that, then it will give you the next steps and the next steps. And you're just literally like constantly in flow together. It's the coolest thing ever. I'm hosting a free webinar, by the way, if you're listening to this in real time. It kicks off on August 29th, and it's called Illuminating AI. And I'm going to show you real case studies, real examples of how to utilize this tool on your own so that you can do things like I'm talking about. That then moves us to the piece of being able to leverage our businesses ethically and responsibly. Because if we now have AI on our side, look, here's the thing. AI is going to go to the good guys or the bad guys. You're one of the good guys. You are. So if that's the case, let's use it for good. Let's wire it for the best case scenario. Let's find a way to create an output where we are doing it responsibly. For example, Aiden knows that at the core, the mission of what I do is creating an ethical, aligned business that is full of integrity. That is the most important thing to me. I do not want to take advantage of people. I do not want to just make a bunch of money. I don't. I want to teach what I know, and I want to help people. That's what I want. And if you can train this tool in a way to show up in that fashion for you, then amazing. And I believe that. I do believe people are engineering it because AI is neutral. I do believe people are engineering it in bad ways, but we have an opportunity to engineer it for good. And if the more of us are engineering it for good, that's going to create a bigger impact. Okay? I truly believe that the age of Aquarius, while it is the age of technology, it is also the age of waking up our humanity to be one, to love each other, to be in harmony. And that's going to be a journey. So if AI is here for this ride, well, then we might as well wire it and program it for good. Okay. So with these applications, with these tools, and again, I don't want to just keep saying it's so great, but what I think we need to see is that it's not about investing in these courses or these coaches that are giving us a shit ton of information and we don't know how to execute it. We're dissolving that problem. And instead, we're being able to leverage these tools in a low-cost way. Most of these tools are literally free or $20 a month, okay? Most of these tools are not going to cost you more than $100 a year. How many business coaches out there charge that? And again, I'm not knocking the business coaching industry overall, but there are a lot of cracks in it. And there are a lot of people that are doing a disservice. And this is our way to turn it around. And this is why I'm rallying for AI. I founded a company. It's called Golden Age AI. You'll learn more about it in the coming months. It's going to be a learning hub for us, especially those that are spiritual entrepreneurs and want to utilize the growing technology for innovation, integrity, and for the good of humanity. And so if you're on board with that, next steps, sign up for the webinar, Illuminating AI. Like I said, it is completely free. There is an upgrade option. It's $47. Again, keeping it reasonable for you. That upgrade option includes 2 bonus Q&A sessions with me. It also includes an intuitive prompting guide, and then you're going to also get a behind the scenes look of how I utilized AI to create the webinar. So it's a really great opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about this world in a more grounding, calm way. And the hope is that you will receive this content from me as someone that you trust, someone that you're willing to learn from. And look, it's not going to be for everybody. And I get that. And I was really even nervous putting myself out there. Like, I was geeking out over it for months, right? Like using it in my own business, but something still wasn't right. And I realized the thing that wasn't right was that nobody was actually teaching this to those that need it most in our industry. And that was the big aha moment. And that actually happened 4th of July. I was on a hike and it was like, ba-bing, Danielle. And that's when I came up with Golden Age AI, bought the domain. And, I have been, for the last 6-7 weeks, just working on it behind the scenes, which isn't normally like me. I'm usually very once I have an idea, it's usually out in a week or two. I waited on this a little bit more because I really wanted to make sure that it felt right. And also, too, I had to navigate my own resistance around shifting gears, around speaking about it, around knowing that some people may have fears or opposing, feels about it. But my hope is that I teach from my heart. I share why it can help you. And again, I can't control the higher order of some of these things and the way that the world is going and data control and technology and hidden agendas. However, I'm telling you in my core, and I've consulted with my own support team, with my own healers. It's going to make me cry. They're all like, Danielle, we trust you with this. This isn't you participating in something evil. This isn't you getting caught up in the wrong thing. This is you being in your sovereignty, delivering this. And this is people that also are skeptic of this. They're saying, Danielle, if anyone's going to do this in our space, it's you. And so I am answering that call and I am moving this forward. So if you want to stay on the journey with me, of course, this podcast will still be a plethora of things because that's who I am, right? But Golden Age AI is going to be a part of my journey for a while. And I hope that you explore it with me, at least partake in the Illuminating AI webinar, and we'll go from there. So, final thoughts is really just remembering that we're in these times on purpose for a good purpose. And I really think right now, this year, next year, especially as we mature and evolve, we're being asked to use all of our gifts. And for me, I've always loved technology. Getting my computer in 6th grade was the coolest thing that ever happened to me. I still remember I was 16 years old and I was driving to work. And this was back when there was still, I think it was either flip phones or it was like the Nokia, was it the Snake, right? The Nokia Snake. And I remember I got this download. It was because I don't know, I had my little Snake phone or whatever. And I remember hearing, and this was, I didn't, before I knew I was really intuitive or anything, I heard, Danielle, there's going to be a day where you're going to have your computer in your hand and your phone is going to be a computer and you're going to do everything your computer does by your hand. And it's only going to get more and more laser focus. And I'll never forget that moment. And I thought it was the most random thing in the world because I was like, what does this even mean? I'm going to work to go be a lifeguard in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the chocolate town, right? What am I even thinking? And then there was a time where I even explored getting my master's in instructional technology, but I was just not in a place where that was going to be good for me because I was going through my own personal stuff, right? That school was just not a priority. But that being said, it's interesting how sometimes when we're really unsure about where we're going or what we're supposed to be doing, or it feels like we've missed our calling, all of a sudden, something from our past life will come back in and say, remember me? Remember when you wanted to do this? It wasn't ready then. And so we needed you to do this over here instead. But now we want you to bring this back in too. And so if you're in a place in your life where you're feeling stuck or you're feeling confused, instead of just focusing on what you should be doing now or what you think you should be doing now, ask yourself, what's a thing that I used to want to be that I forgot about? And maybe lean into it, because there may be some truth there. There may be a little spark, a little something to ignite. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. I hope you opt into Illuminating AI. The link is in the bio. You can also find it on my website, Danielle Mercurio, under events. I love you, and thanks for being on this groovy ride with me.